ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this, the July 21st edition of Beyond the Headlines. My name is Colin Dowe, and I thank you so very much for joining us, whether you're tuned in on GBN television, looking at us via any of the social media platforms, or listening on GBN radio. Welcome, and thank you for sharing part of your Monday evening. This evening, we will start a series of what we dub Voices of Spicemas, and we will have the different players of Spicemas coming to join us as we talk things carnival in the lead up to Spicemas 2025. We have three gentlemen with us this evening. We are going to be on the Soca Groovy train, and Eugene Gittens, producer, musician, welcome.
Thanks for having me, man.
Shamak Duncan, Artiste, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me tonight.
Kelvin, Celestine. All right, so I should just say Otis and Shamak, right? Yeah, because those of us who judge, we know people God game. We say the government name, right? But Shamak is Shamak, and we know Shamak. Yeah. Gentlemen, welcome, and thank you for this opportunity to talk things Spicemas.
Yes.
Yeah. Congratulations, Otis. You are in the finals of the Groovy. Otis is a former Power Soca monarch, but in the finals of Groovy this year.
Thank you for sending me into the finals straight, but in the semi-finals.
Boy, maybe I'm seeing things.
You're probably seeing things.
So
I appreciate the blessings.
The Brian Griffin semi-finals of the Groovy Monarch. So congratulations to you. And Shamak, well, you busy because Thursday and Friday, because you're in the semi-finals of both the Groovy on Thursday and the Power on Friday.
I am. I'm judging in Calypso tomorrow as well.
Oh, well, sorry. So maybe you have work Sunday. Maybe you have work Sunday, right?
Fingers crossed.
Excellent. So, I mean, congratulations. And let me just start off with you because, just give your impressions. What is your overall assessment of Spicemas? We're going to focus on the music, really.
Yeah.
The music of Spicemas 2025.
In my honest opinion, I think the quality of the music is really high. It's top tier. Something that's very much encouraging as well is that a lot of young people, not just doing it for singing sake, but paying attention to the quality, and we trying our best to, raise that level. And I honestly, I'm proud of the music, that Greenwood are actually producing, from the producer point of view and from the artist point of view, the writing, the melody, the way how we start marketing, the music as well. It's really outstanding, so it's commendable.
Okay. Eugene, your impression of the music, Spicemas 2025?
Ditto. Basically, yeah, high level, great quality. I am also very impressed with a lot of the young people. I also see a lot of women entering, which is good. And I also see a lot of people who traditionally have not been in soca. So other artists who are playing other genres now getting that soca bug and getting into the music, and they come with different angles, a different approach, which is good. So you have an infusion of something new into the soca, and also they would have gained some skills in performing. So they have that performance element as well. So I think overall the judges will have a tough time for these semis coming up.
Otis?
Well, I honestly share the same sentiment as both my colleagues here. I'm very much impressed by the younger artists. The Shamak, Duncan, the Tris, the Suasion, the reggae atmosphere, prolific writers, and in local terms, they have a good pen game, and I admire that about them. They take the time to sit and write a song with the producers. So it's not just any song coming out, but it's a quality song. When you listen to them, it's like you could go back to a Flying Cloud or a Jamu, because when you hear it 2-3 3, 4, 5 years from now is a song that was sung as is brand new.
Okay. Well, and this was my next question, really. What jumps out at you? I know you're artists and you're competing, but all of us have something we like. So we're giving flowers one time, right? So what are, just name some of the songs, artists that just jumps out at you as being positive, as being memorable, would have the legs to not just go past the Monday and Tuesday of a carnival, but we probably will be listening to it 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 and beyond.
Yeah, I mean, this year I admire the creativity of my girl partner, Shot Pre, Downtown.
Right.
How creative he was in writing that song, I also listen to, as I said, Tris, young artist, prolific writer, Bubba, lots of artists, lots of songs. Because as I said, this year we are as Shamak even said, we are at a top tier.
Right.
So there are many songs would just jump out at me, and put me in that happy feeling.
Shamak, what's jumping out?
One of the songs that would jump out for me is the one by LED, Viral Again. Yeah, that song touched a beautiful spot in me, because every time I try writing as a writer myself, I always try my best to bring across something with a message, a beautiful message. And that song, it gives two beautiful messages, basically love amongst each other as neighbors, and still highlighting how beautiful Grenada is, so that's, for me, it's a masterpiece. I really like that one. As Otis rightfully said, even the Booba, I'm a close friend of Booba as well, so to see the growth, it's really much inspiring. Also Happy Boy as well, with Flowers, Shot Pre, we must give him his as well. There's a lot. Listen, if I start, I won't stop.
So now we give him bouquets, we give another whole garden.
Yeah, we just carry flowers.
Eugene?
Well, again, Short Pre has come back with a bang, and he's an artist I've always loved, and I'm actually, this year I've got the pleasure of working with him. I actually did the composition for his power song, right? So One Nation, One Jab, Jab Nation, which is what we are, which I think you coined that.
Thank you.
And of course, Bouquet Now. I mean, that's a classic, a classical. These are songs that are, way up. And a couple of the people I really like a lot. I mean, I like everybody, but I'll just name it a couple. And some of the people who came out early, they catch your attention because I got a jump start. Terror the Governor, Jab Supremacy. I mean, that's one of my favorites as well. And Booba. Yeah. I like him. I like Booba. So there are a lot of there are tons of great songs, but those are like,
I'm noticing Booba and Short Pre are 3 for 3 on this set. Yeah. Okay. Excellent. If we just to get into how has the music evolved over the years, and let's say over the last 10 years, your observation, Eugene, how has the music evolved?
I want to take us a little back, just a little bit back further for a reason. So back in the day, our artists who could afford it go down to Trinidad or maybe New York, and you had people like Frankie McIntosh, who's actually Vincentian, or you have people like Leston Paul and Kenny Phillips and all these big Trinidad producers, and basically we go down and we record our music there. What we got was a Trinidad sound. We're not Grenadian artists, but Trinidad producers, a Trinidad sound. They sound their music sounded like Trinidad music. What we have now is our own music. We have great young producers, and I want to give the young men. I want to, because young men, we have a lot. No, I can't call myself we. They're not we. Young men, people give them a lot of flack, but in terms of music, they are actually upfront. So I was just recently attended a producers workshop done by Kenny Phillips' son, Casey Phillips. And there were about 35 of Grenada's top producers. Most of them under under 30, under 25, young guys.
Right.
A guy who was there too was Shem Felix, Bill the Vibes. And again, our sympathies go out to him and his family because, again, such a great producer. The stuff he has done on his own song. And that's the thing about music, is to create your own song. Whenever you hear a song by Shem, you know it was Shem. It just had that rhythm in the back there, And yes, again, I think what has happened over the years is that we have honed our own sound. And again, that whole jab music is something that is, totally unique. So St. Vincent has, well, I know about St. Vincent. St. Lucia has a Dennery segment, and Dominica the Bouillon, and Grenada has jab music. And I think it's important that we know recognizing it and embracing it and elevating it. It's really good, and the quality is excellent.
Okay, just your shift, Otis, over the last 10 plus years?
Yeah, for the 10 plus years, we have seen a shift in the music. We have really come to accept our own, which is the jab sound. There are so many jab songs right now. We now see jab in Soca Monarch. So, a lot of the artists, how we took the jab music and put it together with the instrumentals to make it a sweet sounding, rhythm. It has been great. I mean, lots of us, we are on it. Our period traveled with it. Mr. Killer and all of the artists who are outside there, who's flying the flag high, we see how, when they get onto a rhythm, it's just magic. It's just magic.
Shamak? Well, sorry, I guess as the youngest on set, I probably shouldn't say for 10 plus years, or 5 plus, right? but just, because I know you've been following anyway, so as you listened, what are some of the changes that you will identify as part of the evolution of the sound of the artists coming out for Spicemas?
So first of all, I'll try the 10 plus because at first I've been a fan of the music before I enter.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing I notice a lot as of recent is there is more vocal ability in terms of bringing across the songs, and there is more, I should say, more seriousness in terms of like performing as well. There's back then there was a lot of artists, that they would sing a song, and then when they go on stage, you see like a total difference.
Right.
As of recent, like whatever some of the artists record, they would go on stage and they would sing like it, and that is very refreshing to me, because I like sweet music, I like nice music, so seeing that, seeing the evolution of actually like bringing across like vocal ability and whatever in the music is very much refreshing. Our next thing too as well is we're not really sticking too much into like the just heavy jab. However, we could use that same heavy jab rhythm but still put a nice song onto that rhythm as well. We could give us longevity throughout the whole season, not just Carnival, but something that could last.
Well, certainly I would want to come back to that point, because that's going to be a whole discussion on its own that I want to zero in on. But just share what you believe is responsible for the improved performances in general of artists, one, and the other thing you pointed out is the vocal ability. So what is recorded, we quite often see on stage during the performance. What do you believe is responsible for that improvement?
First, I will say I think social media is a huge influence. You have a huge influence on that as well, because it's given us access to knowledge about what is really taking place. We're seeing more and we're actually hearing more. So sometimes you could sing, you're in church, you see it a lot, or you're just taking part in karaoke and you're actually so exposed.
Hold on, let me just, I must jump. karaoke is not for people like you. It's for people like me. Right? You just carry your own key for a reason. Right? This thing where big singers going in karaoke is.
That's true. But you know, it have some big singers that would actually take part in karaoke and just think that's just for them.
Right.
You know, and somebody else, you know, could point out and say, hey, try, you know, try this. I could give you like a huge example, Sweet John. We worked together, we was a vocalist together, you know, performing, and he was really more into the R&B and the pop side, and I keep telling him, I say, yo, come across, you know, and he would write soca songs and sing it for me, and I say like, what are you waiting on, come across, you know. He would try to give me, I say, no, you sing it, you know. No, for real. And I just feel like that is what it is now. It's like we just encourage each other to join in, you know, and let's do it together and let's make it happen. And in terms of the quality, I think we're seeing more of the quality that actually trending. Basically, we could shout out Trinidad that, you know, the quality always trending. So we always hear it, and probably we can listen it and say, okay, if they song like that, we could song like that too, or we could song even better.
Right.
You know, so I believe it's really social media and just the internet on a whole that expose the knowledge to us, and that's why we're just going after it.
Okay. Eugene, if we are to look at just some aspects of the music that may have evolved, instrumentation, how has that changed as we look at the movement of Grenadian music then and now?
I think that as you create, you always, like you say, as you create, you always try to improve. You know, you can't stay at one level, and so you're always listening to other things outside of your genre as well. You also learning. So I think it's just, it comes with time as you develop, these things come. And to talk about one thing I want to add to what Shamak just said is that I think also all those things you said are correct, the access to the multimedia and all that and the internet. But I think producers also have a part to play in the song, because if somebody comes and records by me and they can't sing, I send them back. Go on, you know, I help you out, and I say go do your homework and come back. You know, you got to be able to sing. You know, so a producer shouldn't just record anything. And I think our producers are at a level where they help the artists along as well. So that contributes to better.
So let's just speak in terms of arrangements. And I notice it's one thing that has changed in 10 plus years is that we're now referring to producers as opposed to arrangers. Frankie Mac was an arranger. Leston Paul was an arranger. Ibu was an arranger. Now we're talking about producers. You know, what really is that distinction? As you look at the relationship between artist and producer, how Otis has that changed from Tornado to present?
Well, Tornado, because the producers, as Mr. Gittens said, Shamak probably said to listen to other genres of music, and they don't stick to just, you know, what was from yesteryear. You have to evolve with the time. So I was speaking to one of the producers from Trinidad, Explicit Mevon, and he told me one time, he said he was listening to a pop song. And because he's a creative, he stripped the song and used some of the instrumentals and create a soca beat. So this is how creative it has been and it has gotten from then to now. Not sticking to the usual that we know, that the producers know, but because they want to be more marketable. So they try to create their own song and try to song different and not necessarily moving away from how we used to song before, but improving on the song.
Have we seen a shift in tempo as well? I mean, and this is a question for any of you. Have we seen a shift in tempo as we go back, 15 plus years to what is presented now?
Yeah, if you had listened to Inspector Hurricane, that BPM was what?
135, 140.
And we back then you think this is a real.
That was real pace. Right. Yeah.
And now guys are singing 160 BPM. This is and when you compare a spec here a Jamo 140 BPM to a 160, you realize is a groovy they were singing back then.
Right. Yep.
So yeah.
Okay. So
the pace has definitely gone up.
Yeah.
I mean the pace is, especially in the power soca side. It's you wonder how people could sing at that pace, and sometimes you can't. But anyway.
And sometimes it is important to have that. But I noticed this, and there is some debate on it, because let's go to 140, 145, and we have two artists here, and yourself, Eugene, as a producer. Is 140, 145 groovy, or we start going into the power pace? I mean, can one legitimately groove to 140, 145? Or are we talking more like 125, 130 to be the upper limits of grooving?
On that topic, it's so funny because sometimes no matter what the BPM is, depending on how you structure your melody in your writing, it could give a different energy. I've seen that so many times. For example, this year, I admire trying to have a diversity in terms of the BPM as well, because for groovy, in order to make it like to get a groovy pumping on the road, you would want like a 130 between 140, However, we ran away from the little 110, 105, that nice sweet just, and my producer, he
giving me flowers, call him by name, sorry.
Lighthouse, right. Bonnie. He produced 112, and we had Juice on it, we had Reggae Atmosphere, myself, and even the producer himself, Bonnie, he had a song on it, and I wrote something just nice and just, something that not just for Carnival, but something that we could listen throughout the year, because I really try my best to pen like longevity music. And then, we have other artists that actually write something that you could bounce on the road with. And I saw him taking part in Groovy, and I was like, yo, you have your belly, like, oh, you could, you sing that in Groovy Monarch? And he was like, yeah. And I saw the energy that he brought with the melody that he added to that beat. And I was like, wow. So basically, I feel like you could groove to something on 160, just depend on the melody.
And and I think that really is a key point, and probably putting on a little bit of my judge's hat here a little bit. So rather than being cut and dry, saying nothing above 130, cannot be a groovy. Ultimately, what one would want to see is that you dance and sway. And quite often, the melodic lines, as well as the structure, allows you to evoke a certain emotion and reaction, and that is what counts, as opposed to necessarily the BPM in the background.
No, it's not really the BPM. It's how you structure your melody. It's so important.
I do think though we have rules on the BPMs for so the artists have to be aware of that.
No, I'm agreeing, but ultimately it is the impact that the song has that will affect how high the scores go, right? And one would want to ensure as well that the response to the song is a groovy. You don't want to crown a poor monarch behavior in a groovy competition.
That is so important, because I saw on my score sheet, a judge told me, pay attention to your tempo. This is groovy, and my BPM is 128.
Right.
And I think like in the contract it stated that groovy you have to be like under 140.
Right.
So I'm well under 140, but I mean, I guess the energy that I brought on stage, that
something
I have to be
like power.
So.
And that is for the authenticity of the competition. It is important that artists are aware of this and adhere to it. Likewise, my judges crown appropriately, no matter how good the song is, that they ensure that a groovy performed song is crowned, because like in your case it might be 128. If it's not performed as a groovy, then you're putting yourself in trouble.
True.
Right? All right. So that Grenadian sound, and I believe Eugene, you mentioned it. What are some of the things that one can expect to hear if we're saying that is Grenadian? what are some of the signature things that allows us to distinguish ourselves from, let's see, and we can tell we know there's a Trini Soca, that one is a Vinci, that one is St. Lucia, Dominica, that's Antigua, right? What is it that it makes it Grenadian?
Well, again, I will talk specifically to the Grenadian jab music, and it would be the drum patterns. So as you produce, you have to bear it in mind. You grow up, you listen to the song of the people playing jab, and the way those guys play the drums, so you sort of recreate that sound. So the sound of the drums, you normally 3 drums, and they play different beats, and they come to you put them together. You have, of course, the conch shell, which would be key. You have the drums, the bass, that could vary. I would say that the drums, the conch shell, maybe things like the hi-hat, and the percussive elements of a song, and then you could add your layers on top of that.
Okay, so it's really the drum patterns that will distinguish us from others.
For me, I think it's the phrases that we use as well, and the way that and our accent, the way that we speak. You would hear it clearly in some of the songs. There's a way that I probably would phrase a line, and Vinci would phrase it totally different, and you would hear it from the time they start singing. You would hear it. I think like the melody patterns are very much different as well in how they would sing, and that very much complements the production as well.
Yeah, what you say is true, because you use, that's the third thing I was trying to remember, the jab chants, the way you chant, and so the way you sing, absolutely.
Right. And this is us as Grenadians, so we're not pretending. It's just that's the way we speak, and it's the way we sing. Right. Okay. How has that jab culture in terms of influencing our music, and how easy or difficult has it been to remain creative, but at the same time try to be true to that jab culture?
Well, I don't think it's difficult, because jab is us, and we are called Jab Nation. And if we take it back to history, if we look at some of the artists who create jab songs, like the Terror will go deep into the jab, very deep, and he will create that jab movement within his songs. If we look at Muddy this year, that jab movement. So it's not that difficult for us, because it's something that is within us. So I believe naturally you hear that beat, and it will just bring you to that place where this is us.
And where I'm going is that blowing two conch shell doesn't make a jab.
No.
Saying jab doesn't make a jab.
No.
Right? It is from the phrasing, from the drum patterns, etc., that makes a jab. So there's a base.
There's a base.
But yet still, as creatives, you can't sing the same song.
No.
Right? We have 120 men people entering into power. So how difficult, I'll repeat the question, to be authentic and yet creative? Shamak?
For me, especially when it comes to jab, I honestly believe it boils down to what is the music that you pay attention to, what music that really stands out to you. Because yes, we're in Grenada, and yes, jab is a dominant version of soca. However, all soca artists are individual, have their preferences.
Right.
For me, I would listen a lot of, as I said, I love like just beautiful music basically, so I would listen to the Bajans, I would listen to the Trini Socas, and for me to sit and write, and from the momentum I release a song, then the most feedback I'll get is that song like a Trini Soca. I would get like a lot.
Right.
So for me, I think it's a bit difficult to try to like dig in myself and get like that Grenadian kind of vibe for people, because I'm so into that quality vibe and that sweetness and
And tell me if this is, the Grenadian might tell you that sound like a Trini Soca.
Yeah.
But will a Trini tell you that sound like a Trini Soca, or will a Trini hear Grenadian?
I don't even know. I think so. I got that response a few times that they actually said it sound like, you know, it really sound like one of their own, like the melody, the way that I project, you know, the vocals in the song as well. There's a very prolific Trini writer as well that looking forward to working with me because of my style.
Right.
You know, but I don't want to like hide away from doing, you know, Grenada music. Because one thing that I keep questioning myself about is on the same topic. I would get a lot of comments like, yeah, that song good, this song sweet, you're a good artist, you know, but then when the music is actually out there, like you don't really see that, you know, that big, you know,
the embrace, the love,
you would get
the
the
frenzy,
love, but you would get it, you know, like silently, you know.
Okay, right.
But you don't get like the huge hype and the uproar, you know. It's not something that bothers me, but it's something that make me think like, what is that one switch,
right?
You know, and I believe it boils down to listening too much of, you know, the outside. Yeah, you know, I have to pay more attention to like the authentic kind of jab music and whatever. But I mean, I guess time will tell.
And you also have to be true to yourself.
True.
As an artist, and as you gravitate to what your inklings, but at the same time, that one, could make a difference. I see where you're going.
It can.
Let me jump in
Eugene.
a while. In terms of your initial question, how do we take the music to the next level or to innovate in the music? Let me give you an example from a musician, producer side. So about a year ago, I put out this rhythm, which is Tempest is on and Short Breeze on, the Jab Symphony rhythm, it's called. And about a year ago, I sat down and deliberately said, okay, what can I do to do something different with jab? It was a deliberate effort, right? And putting my musician skills, you know, I sat and I said, how about a symphony? How about trying to create a symphony with a jab? So started off this piece with an arpeggio, you know, broken notes in the beginning. Thought I'd incorporate some pan into it. So I added some pan in a little bit down the road, added some strings, and orchestrated it, and to create a jab symphony. So these are the kind of innovations, and innovations are taking place by a lot of it. I hear other innovations taking place, people incorporating like Latin kind of stuff in it. Or
but listen to fiddles in jab supremacy this year. I mean, that was refreshing. I mean, I didn't put, I mean, I know when I hear fiddles, I think the quadrille, and I go back. I certainly wasn't thinking jab, and there it was.
Jab symphony is a good example of that too. I mean, jab supremacy, those two.
So I must make it clear now that I'm not a writer. Okay. I'm a singer.
Right.
So I fit into whatever is given to me.
Okay.
So I work with international writers, artists, and so forth.
But you still will accept things that you feel in your soul, in terms of the sound. So you still will have a sound that is Otis, because not anything somebody bring for you will sing.
No. Right. and that is true.
Right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our first break with Voices of Spicemas 2025. We'll have the break and we'll come back to continue the conversation with our guests.
Need to check your bill balance? Use the Grenlec mobile app. Open the Grenlec mobile app and tap the icon labeled Balances at the bottom of the screen. View your bill details, including your current bill balance, the due date by which you must settle your bill, the amount and date of the last payment you made. It's quick, easy, and available 24/7. Convenience at your fingertips.
If you are interested in reliable and efficient shipping, then look no further. Caripinix is the one for you. Our parent company is located in Miami, where we boast one of the most advanced facilities. We have our tentacles in most of the Caribbean islands, including Grenada. At Caripinix, we offer you reliable shipping, Whether it's by air or by sea, we have you covered. We offer services for the regular person shopping on Amazon or any of those, online services. You need to ship a vehicle, we can take care of that. You need to ship dangerous goods, hazmat material. We also have the facilities to take care of that also. Visit us today. We open from Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And at Carib Connects, we are connecting you with excellence.
Are you longing to taste authentic, flavorful dishes from Thailand? Then look no further. Konthai, the newest restaurant located at the back of Galleria Mall top floor, is the place to satisfy your taste buds for Thai dishes that are well seasoned with fresh local spices. They offer a great selection of sumptuous dishes that will tantalize your taste buds. Visit Konthai today because the food is good, the ambiance is great, and the staff friendly. Available on Caribites and Yogo Grenada. For more information, call 456-0074 or visit konthaigrenada.com or stop by the new Galleria Mall, Grand Anse St. George. I'll meet you there.
On Wednesday, August 13th, it's Carnival Encore, the ultimate cool down at the Grenada National Stadium. The cool down village opens at 6 p.m. Showtime 7 p.m. It's full stage frenzy with massive performances from Cass.
No sweetness, Taishi weakness, so she
Voice.
But I'm a junkie, the people place, jamming.
And many more. Tier 1 Chill Zone tickets are just $125. Upgrade to the White Oasis Premium Village for $350. Or take it all the way with access to the exclusive Carnival Cabana Club. Email sunshinepromoeventsgd@gmail.com for more info. Carnival Encore.
I don't know about you, but I come here to flex, come to play,
The vibes don't end until we say so. Wednesday, August 13th, National Stadium. Get your tickets now from gotofed.com. Brought to you by Sunshine Promotions.
Viewers and listeners, Voices of Spicemas 2025. Shamak, during the break, you said you had a bouquet to give out, so I'll allow you to give the bouquet now.
On the job, symphony rhythm, yeah, we must give Mr. Gittens his flowers for such an amazing rhythm. I love the way that it came across as a crossover. You literally think outside the box. You took that kind of, for me, I don't know if anybody else heard it, but I heard that kind of Indian kind of, Indian vibe in job music. Now I can see Indian dancing to job and feel it's really authentic to them.
It's just not whatever you feel is okay. Whatever music is, it shouldn't be what I initially set out to do. Because I say symphony. When I gave it to Temptress, she came back with a pan and jab.
Yeah.
And I was listening to an interview with Eddie Grant, which is a funny interview, and he said when he wrote the song, "Give Them Hope, Joanna," give us hope. He was talking about what was going on in South Africa and Johannesburg. But he said the song got big because a DJ thought he was talking about a woman.
Right.
And he started blowing up the song up like if he talking about a woman. But only later on, the DJ understood the real meaning of the song. But the thing was already out the door as a love song, So it's whatever the listener interprets, it's fine.
As we look at the evolution of our music, what has been, has our music been influenced by the likes of, let's say, hip-hop, the bouillon, the Afrobeats, dancehall? Are we still seeing those influences within the Grenadian sound?
Yes. 3 genres that I could shout out: dancehall, even the way that we speak sometimes on stage, you know, we just mimic them a lot. I mean, even, you know, with writing, you know, some of the Jamaican phrasing, the way they would say something, it probably would sound better in your recording, so you use it, you know. So dancehall definitely, I would say rap as well. Some of the way that you put your lyrics, we have a lot of ingredients really into rap, and the way that they flow, the way that they have lyrics. Grenadians really pay attention to that as well. Also the Afrobeat, especially some of the songs that we sing like towards ladies, not the usual, you know, exposed one, but the, you know, the nice, take your time and sing to a, you know, to a lady. I think it's really much influenced by the Afrobeats as well.
Yeah, I think whatever you listen to will come out in what you do.
Yes.
Right.
And certainly, a lot of the soca artists, if you examine them, even some of the big ones started off in reggae and dancehall. You know, Killer, you know, Talpree, a lot of them. So yeah, you would find that, and then the younger generation, of course, the hip hop and the R&B and
because I do hear it in your voice and Riggy's voice and even Suejan's voice.
Okay, you know, one of the things I wonder, well, sorry, I observe and you tell me whether or not this is correct. When I look at a Grenadian soca artist on stage, I'm seeing a Grenadian calypso heritage, and I'm referring now to the theatrics in the production. If you look at Trinidad Soca Monarch, you don't see that type of theatrics and the drama. Is that good for us, and is that part also of our signature in bringing across, certainly in competition, what the messages that we are attempting to portray?
Oh yeah, I mean, this just speaks of how creative we are. We will come on stage and it's like a whole theater, and to get the message across, you know, it just be a wowing moment sometimes for the people, you know. So a foreigner will come, and let's take somebody come from London, and they're not part of this culture, part of what we do. But when you do it like that, they will have a better understanding of what it is, and where we're coming from, and what we're trying to do, what we're trying to portray. So this is just really part of us, how creative we are, and what we want to portray. And I think we should continue and not let that, you know, get lost by the side of the way.
Okay.
For me, it's very much exciting, you know, as a young man in the soca industry. As I mentioned earlier, at first I was a fan, and that was one of the main things, you know, I was a fan of. I used to like can't wait for just to see Groovy Monarch, Soca Monarch, and even the Mad Girls as a youth, just to see. Sometimes I'll watch like the presentation, and if I really feel in the song, I just kind of use out. You know, no, for real, you know, because I just love the creativity behind it, and it's so much into us right now that I would pen a song, and in the back of my head is like, I want to know, you know, how I could, you know, how I could bring it up.
There was an argument one time that Specky would do the theater and then write a song for the theater.
You can write backwards.
And I believe that because, I mean, it even goes beyond me, because sometimes I would bring my song to someone and say like, what do you think about it? And like, so what are you doing for presentation? You know, right away, you know, and for me, I was like, you know what, when I reach that bridge, I will cross it. You know? I would never really like discuss that, you know, that early, but at least I would like to have in my mind what you could bring across, because at the end of the day, I see music and a song as a movie, you know, as a script. You have to have like a purpose and a message behind each and every song that you put aside.
Presentation is key. And I mean, you could have a simple idea, and presentation could really help you to go. Donkey, watch out, they're kicking up.
The huge example.
The whole thing is about storytelling, you know. You know, sometimes you might just hear the song for the first time, you know, and then you look at what's on stage, and that will just help you to understand what the song is all about.
Let me just go on this idea of storytelling. I'm going to focus on the lyrics. Are our groovy and power soca songs, more lyrical in terms of its compositions and completeness than what we would hear probably south of us?
For me, I don't think so. I think it varies. I think it varies in all different countries. I think you would find, a bunch that have good storytelling, and you would find a bunch that just have a nice hook.
Right. Yeah.
That's all.
Right.
And I think that's in all countries. I really commend. I hope I'm not calling the name too much, but I really commend, same Trinidad and Tobago, with the soca, they have some beautiful storytelling and the way that they put on, and the structure of it as well. It's one of my biggest inspiration, Vinci don't really have that much, they just more of a vibe, a nice hook, and that's basically what it is.
Right.
Yeah, so I just feel it varies.
The Trinidad groovies, musically, are very appealing. The quality, things sounds like Hero, and some of these guys. I mean, they have a lot of music. They have a lot of substance to them. Not that we are behind or in front or anything. I think they're just different.
Yeah.
So I'm making the distinction, and if you can, Eugene, let's make the distinction between the instrumentation, musicality, and the written word. My question focused on the storytelling, so the written word, and how we go about telling a full story, almost calypso fashion, even if it is a groovy or power song. Whereas, and Shamak alluded to it, in some other places, you have a hook and you follow it with 3 lines, but the hook is all you come with. And then you have good instrumentation to support it. And I'm asking whether in Grenada we see more of a deliberate attempt to tell a story, even if it's a groove or power, than we would see in some other places.
Well, our story, our writing is long, so we tend to have more lyrics within our songwriting. Look at Dash, lyrical. You understand? If you look at Down South, they more summarize, 4 lines, hook. Into the chorus, because Tornado was just 4 lines, hook into the chorus. Right. But it's sort of different here, how we go about doing it. As I said, we go in depth and write a little bit more and to bring that story out. So we sort of stuck to the old-fashioned way of doing things.
Okay. How has the big fets influenced our artists' performances? And you mentioned, Shamak, earlier that we see better performances overall in general. So if we summarize, a larger percentage of our artists seem comfortable on stage. How has the big fet performances impacted that level of comfort, and has it hurt when it comes to competitions and performing for a competition, because those two are different?
I got the way that you ended the question, because there's really a good and there's a bad. There's a lot of our Grenadian artists that are very much comfortable with singing with track. And the audience basically are accustomed with them, singing with track as well. And they get probably a little bit too comfortable in a sense that when it's time for competition part, they have a really hard time to stay in key. They have a hard time to use the mic properly. They would shout. I mean, when you're singing like in a big fet, you shouting and nobody just shouting, because everybody just starting to jump, But when you're in a competition, it's different, because people want to hear what you're saying. People want to, and even your fans, would want to pay attention to your song. No, because they want you to do your best so that you can proceed. So I think that it's a huge jump. For me, in my experience as an artist, what helped me evolve with my comfort on stage and my vocal ability is basically performing in a live band. So I'm a vocalist as well in a live band, and that is what really made me so much comfortable on stage with a track. As much as a band, I comfortable with both. So I feel like just taking the track alone, it's good, but when time for competition time, it kills. And the thing about Grenadian is that we wouldn't really let you know, because of two reasons. Sometimes you don't take it well. you know, sometimes you're like, what are you telling me?
Right.
I get it through, you don't get through. So you know, or sometimes you just feel like it's better to say it behind the person back, which I don't think is the right way either. So I just feel like sharing knowledge could help that. However, not everyone receive it.
And you know that is so very important. I know I shared to some folks, it's easier to have a conversation with an artist in October.
Yeah.
Don't come in June and July when competition season. They can't hear you.
Yeah, no.
Right? It's in October when we say, let's go over this.
Yeah.
And then truths can come out and hopefully it improves for the following year. But you can't help them in this year.
You see, it's all about how you develop yourself to accept constructive criticism. Is simply taking a negative and make a positive.
Right.
Because oftentimes, you know, even my coworkers will come to me and say, don't shout. You will get carried away in the song. Don't shout.
Right.
So I take this now and I said to myself, Otis, sing. Don't get carried away and shout. Sing. So it's all about accepting constructive criticism and trying to build yourself, you know, to be a better person, to be a better artist. As Shamak said, you would tell that person and is what you feel like.
Right.
You understand? So as he says, so better we have the conversation in October. We do a postmortem of what happened.
Right.
And then we go forward.
You know, and it is interesting because quite often the individual tells you this because they like you.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't care, they talk behind your back. The mere fact that they're telling you is that they're interested in your development, but it's difficult for us to accept that.
Yeah. I have something to add on that.
Right.
I have something to add on that because there are some people that really probably don't want you to make it through like that, and they would literally tell you things to break you.
Okay.
But for me, and I try my best to encourage other artists and just people in general that they can use that state of mind that I put towards my music. If someone give me a bad feedback, for example, there's criticism, and as we say in Union term, there's bad mind.
Right.
You know, for example, you could say, you know, that song is sung good, however, in that part, you know. Right. But for somebody to tell me straight up like, you won't make it in semifinals. For me, I find that bad mind, you know. Right. Why wouldn't I make it in semifinals, you know? So how would I take that is I wouldn't like go and cry about it and say, oh, that person said I make it in semis, so I'm not making it. I would go and I would say, I'm not making it in semis, okay, cool. Then let me prove you wrong. You know? Motivation. So yeah, so that would just give me fire to say, here's what, no, I go in and do it. You understand? Right. Also, if somebody tell me, don't go and beat up because you already inside. I would not go into my head and be like, okay, well, I inside, so I just go and sing you know? Because I mean, if you look at my preliminary, the Soca Monarch preliminaries, I literally went, I think I did all I could have done on that night.
To make sure you're inside.
Yeah, you know, and then, I mean, so many words behind my back was like, you know, like, you're inside already. And for me, if you thinking that I'm inside already, then no, I don't want to let you down. Right. You know, so let me push as much as I can, you know, to make that happen. So basically, you know, it goes back down to criticism. You have to understand what is a constructive criticism and what is just people just being just bad mind, and you have to know how to turn that into positive, as Otis rightfully said.
All right, Eugene, let's change gears a little bit. We are seeing the promotion of the creative economy. We have now an Office of Creative Affairs that has been established. Has the artists and the music industry, we're talking carnival, so the groovy soca calypso, have we started seeing the benefits of this as yet? And let's start there.
Yeah, I think everybody, we've all said it, kind of the quality of the music this year, I think, is a direct result, most likely. There's some correlation between that. It's been coming up all the years, but this year again there was that master class with Casey Phillips. Where, like I said, all the producers were there, and we got really useful tips And he encouraged us in a lot of different ways. So I think that has also. So to answer your question, yes, I think it's already making an impact.
Okay.
Some of the initiatives that they are doing.
And what are some of the opportunities for growth that is available for artists? And this is a general question to any of you. Just opportunities as you look. If we do X as a grouping, as an artist, Grenadian artist, we can improve.
Avenue for a jab monarch. Jab is our thing, but we don't have a jab monarch in Grenada. We have a power soca monarch. What about jab monarch? We recently had Capital Jab launch, Sunday gone, and
that's what jab.
Yeah. So and you saw how big it is. Why can't we have a jab monarch? So much jab songs to make a difference. Some of the songs may not make it into the soca monarch. So let's create an avenue for a jab soca monarch.
Okay. Any other opportunities that you see?
For me, I would look at the business part of it, because I entered music basically for the fun. I enjoyed it and I'm still enjoying it. However, people may not know what music is very costly. It costs a lot, and sometimes not just money but time and energy and all that, So as an artist, to get back from that, I think that's something that we have to learn how to do properly in terms of doing like a proper contract, in terms of getting royalties for writing and your music being outside there. So that's one part, and the other part is basically marketing. And for my personality, that's where I lack a bit, because I'm a bit just laid back and reserved. But to get myself just out there, to market it properly, I think that's an opportunity waiting for me right now.
Okay. Eugene, opportunities, as well as I'd slip into some of the challenges that the artists would face.
I endorse Otis's idea of we have it. I mean, we have jab in the power, because they're about the same BPMs and stuff. So it fits in there, but...
And there's a private show that's geared towards jab as well.
Yeah,
right.
The private shows. But it's something to consider, definitely. Yeah. In terms of what you said, two things. GOCA, the Grenada Office of Creative Affairs, has been offering some of those things,
right.
And now we have an association of musicians, so artists, musicians, and producers, AMP, which will continue to do some of those development areas and training areas that you talk about. So these are things that are already on their way. It's just for you to now find out about them and slip into them. And know we have.
So we're going to emphasize leaning on GOCA and pressuring them to do more, and then you have your trade union, AMP. That can be the avenue through which you apply the pressure as well.
Association, not trade union.
I know what I said, yes. My choice of words was deliberate, Shamak. But challenges that you see that the artists face as well.
Challenges, I think, some of the things that you talk about, like just more knowledge. There just need to be more knowledgeable. And I think one of the things that artists need to start looking at too pretty soon, I mean now, is really the power of AI. Yeah. I mean, I use AI music. I have a good buddy who's an AI specialist. It's funny about that because he's more of a computer guy and I was a musician.
Right.
So I always used to, my stuff always sounded better than him.
Right.
But lately this man sending me stuff, I'm like, wait a while. This thing's sounding better than what I do, and it's all AI done. And it brings you back to something else, because a lot of AI has to do with English. You have to, it's what you tell it to do. You have to train it, and that involves English.
Yeah.
And there are two things I worry about. One, I think we as we also develop our music, we need to develop ourselves. We have kids, I teach a little course at TAMCC in music appreciation. We have kids in TAMCC who are below the reading and writing level of operate at a primary school level in terms of reading and writing. That has to change. We have to address those things. For us to become competitive, we have to get back to some of the basic things. Okay. Competition. Some people want to run away from competition. I think competition is a good thing. It brings all the best in us. Most of the people want to leave competition because they win enough competition. Don't worry about that. Yeah, they have enough title and enough. Competition is good. It brings all the best. And so we need to keep those things going, but also help watch the skills gaps, the areas where we can improve, where people need help, and help them to come up. Because we don't want to leave anybody behind, but we can't just promote people who don't have the skills. We have to just find those skill gaps, fill them, so that everybody can move up. So, yeah, those are some of the things. The use of AI, I think, would be something that artists should start looking at. And not just for music, but your artwork. Your artwork.
On the AI topic, I feel we have to be very careful with it as well, because we could lose being authentic.
No, it's how you use it. It's how you use it, of course. You don't want to just have you incorporate. These things are tools.
Right, true.
You incorporate it in what you do. You don't really tell AI to just make us jab sound. You give it a jump. I tell AI to give me some jab images. You see the foolishness.
Okay.
But you have to train it.
We're speaking about the challenges, Mr. Dowe. As we spoke about the competition. Title sponsors for soca artists, soca monarch and groovy artists. Queen Show has title sponsors.
Right.
So now the artist has to go outside there and find that money for presentation. So this is one of the challenges artists face on competition night. So, and it's within a limited time span.
Right.
Because if myself or Shamak doesn't know that we're going to make it into a competition, we cannot start sending out letters before that.
Right.
So you must make it to the finals and then write to the sponsors. So
and that's a 2-week turnaround.
And that's a 2-week turnaround.
Right.
But the Queen Show, the Queens have title sponsors. So if we get that into the Soca Monarch and Groovy.
So are you suggesting, for example, that Spicemas Corporation, as it seeks to get support, that part of the support is because we know how many finalists there will be,
right?
And hence they drum up monies for the 15 or the 16 Power Soca finalists and the how many ever Groovy finalists. So that money is there to be assigned in support of your presentation, etc.
Yeah, because I mean, I would tell you this. In 2010 when I won Soca Monarch, I spent 15,000 before I went onto the stage. It was that expensive. I mean, and we talking 15 years later.
Right.
So to put on a good presentation.
And you want all of 30,000.
And so do the maths.
Right. And it's a good thing you won.
Exactly.
You make a very good point. I support that 100% because you notice that artists who actually, the few artists who actually have sponsors, they have an advantage. They have a big advantage. I totally like that. I like the comparison you make with the Queens. I think it should be done for the artists as well.
On that same topic, especially with a huge challenge, and I say huge challenge because I faced it and it was very much stressful. As a youth looking into Soca Monarch, I always wanted to be on that stage. I always wanted to be on that stage until that day. It's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing feeling. However, like there's not much. On my experience, there wasn't anyone that gave me any guidance, or guideline to say, okay, well, this is how it's done, this is how to do it. No, I learned a lot on the night itself on Soca Monarch.
Right.
I went on, imagine I went big national Soca Monarch and for presentation, I'm bringing boxes on stage, because that's what I could have afforded as a young guy, and I had no idea of how expensive it was. I thought most of the presentation stuff was complimentary until I got the quota that just one of the SPAC thing that's going up is $1,000 for one. So I was like, and then. At the end of the day, like I still have the mentality that do what you can control. You could sing the song and go and put on a good performance, and then, however, as as Mr. Gittens rightfully said, I think that the money, the financial part of it, there's a huge gap in terms of points with the judges. But probably you can tell me better as a judge, but I honestly believe so. The theatrics and all that's going on stage, I think it adds a lot to the points, because sometimes you wonder where else they could presentation. So I think that part of it, and then the love that they give the queens, it's so inspiring. I love it. I love to see it. But I would love that they could say, okay, these are the 11 finalists for Groovy or for Power. Let's come together in a meeting or a nice little workshop, and give us a little guidelines and little feedbacks. And I think that could improve the quality of the show as well. So I think that's a huge challenge as well.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a final break. So we'll take the break. We'll be right back, and when we're back, you certainly can weigh in with your sharings to the voices of Spicemas. We'll be back shortly.
Mobility, a common theme woven into the very fabric of human history. From ancient wanderers to modern explorers, our instinct to move, to seek something greater, and to grow has always driven us forward. Imagine a journey into pathways of boundless opportunities and endless possibilities. A collective future where the vibrant rhythms of the Caribbean, rich culture, and welcoming community create unforgettable experiences. Beyond citizenship by investment, we believe in our collective investment of time, resources, and energy that fosters innovation, creates jobs, and enriches lives, driving the growth of an entire nation. The Investment Migration Agency Grenada boasts over a decade of exceptional service and remains committed to guiding you toward global mobility and economic freedom through investment. Your journey becomes our shared story of progress and prosperity. This is an invitation to be part of something greater, something enduring. Begin your journey at imagrenada.gd. IMA Grenada. Unlock the possibilities.
Distributed by Echo Blue Limited. Visit us on the Lansopine Main Road or call 405-4818.
Attention all divers, snorkelers and underwater enthusiasts. Effective May 15th, 2025, all visitors to the renowned Mullinaire Underwater Sculpture Park will be required to pay a small fee of US $3.50 or EC $10 per person. These fees are essential to support the ongoing maintenance and repairs of the sculptures, as well as the development of new features to ensure the park remains a world-class attraction. Payment can be made through the Grenada Tourism Authority's online payment portal, available on the Pure Grenada website, www.puregrenada.com. We thank you for your support in enhancing this extraordinary underwater product. This announcement is brought to you by the Grenada Tourism Authority and the Ministry of Tourism, dedicated to protecting and conserving Grenada's resources for the enjoyment of all.
Wow, girl, some cool air finally.
I know, right? I just installed the air conditioning. I'm glad you're here. Look at my Grenlec bill from this month. Tell me me what's different.
Well, the bill analysis is showing that the number of units you used went down each month. Congrats on that.
But look at the total charges line. It's like I'm paying more for less.
Pay special attention to the fuel charge and adjustment. As you can see, the fuel cost was higher during those months.
So when Grenlec has to pay more for fuel, I get the charges?
Well, yes. I mean, when your suppliers charge more for the flowers and fruits out of season, don't you have to charge your clients more too?
Well, that is true.
But look at the last couple of bills. The fuel charge dropped and the adjustment was a credit. So you actually paid less per kilowatt hour or unit.
And I was really happy about that too. I get it. No matter what the fuel charge and fuel adjustment charge are, once I am managing my usage, I'm on the right path.
Back, viewers and listeners, Voices of Spicemas is the conversation. You certainly can weigh in 440-1252. That's the number to call in. During the break, we were talking, and I challenged Eugene a little bit on the competition being good for artists. Now, competition builds competitiveness, yes. Hone your skills, yes. But unfortunately, one of the byproducts is that we focus so much on the competition that we build songs for the night as opposed to building songs
for years.
As well as we sort of almost put on our pens and we write for the next Soca Monarch night as opposed to continuously making music. How do you respond to that?
It is true. Some of the artists we write for the night, and that's what kills our music. Because we pen a song for a competition and not for a song that will have longevity. And one of the first things my producer told me, that's Mr. Roots. He said to me one time. I said to him, "Man, I don't get my Soca Monarch song yet." He said, "Wait a sec." He said, "Man, let me tell you something. Get out of the mentality about a Soca Monarch song. I'm not producing for you to sing a Soca Monarch song. Okay. I'm producing music to live on." And that just changed my whole mentality of what I want to sing, how I will sing it, and where I want my music to go.
Right.
So penning a song for Soca Monarch it may be good in one aspect, but it hurts us on the other end.
Shamak, I know you mentioned making music that's sweet. A couple of times I heard you saying it, and it seems that is your focus. Is that
it? It is. However, I have a love for competition. I have a love for the Soca Monarch part of it as well, and I think that we could look at it both ways. For example, I think the Soca Monarch part of it, and it's probably because of our culture, that's where we have more eyes on us. So I feel like penning a song to get that recognition on that night, I don't think it may be the worst thing. However, if you're an artist that could still pen something that could be longevity, then I think that you're onto something good. Because for me, I went to the creative field and I was like, I never heard a Happy Birthday Soca song, in no Caribbean island, so I tried to do it. And I actually have a Soca song entitled Happy Birthday, a celebrating song to celebrate a birthday. And my dream was to have that going through the whole year, right. Just Grenadians actually playing Happy Birthday, a Soca song,
right.
And not the busy signal, which is a dance song. You understand? However, other than that, I still wrote a song and say, this is what I want to take back to Soca Monarch.
And that's fine, understandable.
Because I know that the thing about music is someone would watch me a Soca Monarch night and he have talent, right. And they wouldn't just leave it just they would look you up, and sometimes they would dig up a song that you did 2 years ago and that might be a hit 2 years after, Right. So I look at the competition part of it as part for to be recognized, and then you could still do your music that you trying your best to to be longevity. That
Eugene, just that effort to ensure that our music is viable and sustainable, because it is an export. So how do we go about encouraging artists to have that outlook, to make a song that is not just specifically built for a night, but has legs beyond that Friday night, as well as those, even our jab songs, to go beyond Monday morning and be able to export that, not just to the Grenadian diaspora, but beyond?
Again, the competition, like you said, is just one step in the process. So you either write a song that is good, that can make you win a competition, or you choose to write a song for the competition and continue to write other good songs for the other times. The part of the problem is we have to help develop the whole ecosystem, because what happens, and again, maybe it's because it's overkill, but you bet right after Carnival, give it about a week after Carnival, obviously you hear R&B on the radio stations, reggae, everything else, but you can't hear a soca. Maybe, like I said, the DJs had enough, and maybe some of the people had enough, but it takes a while before it comes back again. Maybe maybe when Carnival comes on, you start hearing songs. So we have to develop the whole infrastructure. We have to create opportunities where artists could actually make money off of it, touring opportunities. And so it's a whole job of making it viable. People can't do things that are not viable and sustainable. And you have to have systems in place to help those things along.
Let me use that as a segue, because recently we heard that Vaughan has been appointed the first Caribbean Youth Ambassador of WIPO, and we celebrated. I see it all over Facebook, all the media houses carrying it. He was just across the pond this past weekend, and we showcasing this. But we're not paying Vaughan. When Vaughan music plays on radio, he's not being paid. When we use Vaughan's image or clip, we're not paying Vaughan. So are we respecting Vaughan? Or is it hypocrisy?
That's huge, Colin. What you just said is huge. And again, it's something that we at AMP, all these things we want to address. Because if you look at the other islands, because they're AMP in the other islands, St. Lucia artists, Finceitis artists, all they get paid when the music is played on the radio stations. In Grenada, the artists in Grenada, imagine you're doing your work and you don't get paid after you do all your work. You imagine your work and you don't get paid.
You know the funny thing about that whole situation is, you know who gets paid, who actually gets paid, is the DJs. Because all the DJs have to do is to download the music, and they will play it in a session or in a fete or whatever. Your music, and get paid. And you as an artist, just nothing.
Anybody, the supermarket, everybody uses it. Anybody, I don't want to pick out any one particular person, but that has to change for Grenada, and it has to change soon. I think I think if we're really serious about all of this, we could start there.
So how can we go about, and this is for all of you, ensuring that we support Vaughan in being successful as an ambassador for WIPO?
Let him take up this cause. Help him to. He should be. I mean, we now have a what's her name? Forget the name, but we now have a new echo rep in Grenada, and it's leveraging. People like her, people like Vaughan, the associations, the artists. We need to really be serious about it and put a little pressure where pressure needs to be put to have people, do what should have been done years ago.
I mean, we need to have proper copyright agency here. If we don't have that, then we lost. Trinidad has it. Trinidad has COT. And COT plays a major part for the artists in Trinidad.
No, we have Echo though. Echo is fun.
Well, to me, Echo is just echoing.
No.
I mean,
the reason why Echo...
if we have Echo, but what are they doing for the artists to get royalties?
So that's what I'm saying. It's kind of us. They could do it too, but it's the reason why Echo can't pay you is because the radio stations don't pay them. So where they get the money to pay you?
Well, right. So what I'm saying is we have just south of us, COT. How did they get the radio stations to come on board? what did they do? Are Echo patterning themselves off a cut? Are they asking cut the hard questions?
No, listen, Echo collects money in St. Vincent, St. Lucia, all those artists. I just said St. Lucia, they collect money for these. Echo pays all these artists in the other countries, just Grenada, where Echo don't pay because they don't collect. You can't pay somebody if you're not collecting.
And I think we're dancing because you're right. We're dancing from the standpoint that other nations within our region are demonstrating the respect for Vaughn's title ahead of his being named, and his home country isn't.
Yeah.
I think it starts with the same word that you use, and that's the same word that just been lingering, respect. A lot of us in Grenada, they don't really respect the artists, and for a lot of things to happen and a lot of things to take place, that had to happen first. Respect. As Otis was saying, I understand the 2 points, but it still come back down to that same thing: is okay, how can Echo get the radio station to pay? Yes, we know that you're functioning, yes, you're there, but what are you doing? Are you pressuring the radio station to say, hey, this is the way that we're going and this is the way that we have to go, because the artists have to get paid, but it still boils down to respect. Do Grenadians really respect the music industry?
And let me ask you this. So I agree. Everyone needs to demonstrate respect for the culture.
True.
So we can go from the radio stations to the supermarkets, the media houses, to the supermarkets, to everyone. Right? Promoters and the like. The population needs to be part of it. But the artists themselves also need to respect their craft and recognize that even if it's once your song plays, that once, that 50 cents, whatever it is your 50 cents. What is also important by way of registrations is when your song plays in St. Vincent or it plays in Trinidad, because the radio stations St. Vincent, Trinidad are collecting, they collect for you too. But if you're not a member of any copyright organization, they hold it in escrow, but they can't pay it in. So you need, as artists, to be members of the organization, registered members, so that you can begin to collect when your song plays in St. Vincent, plays in Barbados, plays in St. Lucia and other places. How do we go about getting the artists to recognize that if they're united, they actually can monetize on their craft, and it's not about the $60 or $70 or $80,000 on one night, because everybody can't win that.
True.
Yeah, it's education, and it's education again. Artists need to be educated about things like this. I think that's one of the reasons we started AMP, and you need to be a member.
So the question ask Mr. Gittens, are there legislations in the other countries that we doesn't have here?
We have to enforce our legislation. We have legislation. It's not being enforced. That's one thing. It's the artists. We have to make that, put a little pressure to get some of the stuff enforced. Echo not going to come down and do it for you. I mean, they could try, but Echo could say what they want. It's artists that we have to get organized.
And that's why I use demonstrate the respect. We're not short on laws in Grenada. We're not short on laws in Grenada. Just some general tips, because we're not closing off yet, but just some general thoughts on how we can, the type of things that we need to do to help to elevate the artists and the art form. Just some ideas that you may have.
I think Spicemas need to have a year-round activities for the artists who's not recognized internationally, to help them develop on their craft. It's just within that May to is May when Carnival launches. May to August. After that, it's like Spicemas is dormant. What are we doing? What is Spicemas is doing to at least help develop the artists, help develop the craft, and help to market the artists who are, as I said, who's not recognized internationally.
Is that being fair to to Spicemas, meaning the SMC. And forgive me here, so I'm biased, right? So as the founding chairman, I will declare that. But there is a mandate, and the Spicemas's role is the staging of the annual carnival activities. But we do have an umbrella organization, namely the Grenada Cultural Foundation, and their responsibility, if my read of the act is correct, is developing the components of carnival.
Right. So should I pull Spicemas off and use Grenada Culture?
No, that's for you to do.
but if we look at the holistic development of our country and our artists and creators, I think they need to come together. And as I said, so if this is happening year round, they can at least be part of the title sponsor, raising funds for that night for the artists who cannot put up that 10,000 or that 5,000, or for that artist who will have a good song and cannot afford to pay Mr. Dowe, the producer, or Mr. Gittens, So I just think that...
Just to ensure that the show is of a minimal standard. So if you say this is the least that we want, and then everyone has that least amount, people can go above and beyond. Right? But there's a least amount is what I'm hearing that each artist should have access to ensure that the overall product is of a certain standard. That's what I'm hearing you say.
Yes.
Okay. Other investments by way of training. Do we have sufficient sound engineers? Are you happy when you're on stage with engineering in general?
Everybody has a different sound. So if you look at Masha Montano or Bunch Gallon or Kess, they come with their own engineer, because everybody has a different sound. But for Soca Monarch Night, every artist sings on the same level. So sometimes it's not you can't blame the song man or the sound engineer, probably for how you song on stage, because the levels are for everybody. So this is something we probably have to take into consideration. But generally, the song does be good for me. The song does be good. Soca Monarch Night, groovy night. So I don't really blame, the engineers or so forth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shamak?
For me, we could extend it a bit, not just for the engineering part, but just knowledge in that field. Yes, we have engineers that could do a good job. However, there's engineers too that not that versed and would not make you sound like the previous one. And I feel like we can work on that. And something that I noticed too, especially in that field, is I'm not sure if they're scared to pass on the knowledge, but they're not doing it that much. As someone that pays close attention to quality, I notice too that not much people respect quality as well. They will just go the cheaper route, and it kind of watered down, exactly what really taking place. So I feel like we should have like a standard training as as engineers, a standard training as like just performers as well, and just like understanding the craft a little better, and get the competitive, just because all we thinking about basically is just competition, basically, as we say, like around carnival time, I just see you as somebody that I competing with, and for the rest of the year I don't really know who is Otis at, so it's like we're like enemies in a sense, all we meeting to do is just compete. But I feel like if we could come together and learn together and do it together to develop it, I feel like the quality in every aspect would lift.
And as just to butt in with Shamak, there are a lot of producers now. How much of them are particular about sound engineering.
Right.
Because everybody wants to produce. But are you developing yourself as a sound engineer?
Right.
To know what songs you like?
Are you developing yourself as a musician?
As a musician.
And
Exactly.
how many of our producers are musicians, which increases their breadth? Should this be something that we take on, Eugene, whether it's for producers or whether it's for the artists themselves? They don't have to be, Beethoven, but you still should have some good fundamental grounding in music. Is this something that you'd like to see?
Yeah, well, again, on the producer side, there was training for producers, like I mentioned,
right,
on a very high level. We had tried to do some training for performers, but I think what needs to happen, it didn't take place this year. It is scheduled for next year, which is unfortunate. But I think what really needs to happen is that all the different entities need to talk to each other. So you're talking about Cultural Foundation, Spicemas, Corporate, all the people have stake in the whole matter, you know what I mean? The Ministry of Culture, AMP, everybody, the artists, key, because artists sometimes don't show up, when these things are being discussed and stuff, and then you complain afterwards, not you. But,
but because they're only showing up in time for competition.
Right.
Sometimes they don't know.
They don't know. But what I'm saying is that what's really needed is people need to talk to each other.
True.
And need to come together and make decisions, joint decisions, and not in isolation. That's the only way the whole thing is going to grow, and that's what we need to do. Just have those broad think tanks, broad discussions, and get results. It can happen, but it takes everybody. Everybody.
You talk about the song engineer, and you spoke about the artist. I'm guilty of it myself, but to encourage. Artists themselves must at least educate themselves on a little bit about sound engineering.
Right.
So when you get on that stage, if something is off, when you start to sing if something is off, you could at least, no, this is not the song I'm supposed to be hearing.
Right.
And I don't want no producer to take it too hard, but for me, we're speaking about the music and music arrangement. If I can get to work with somebody who could at least play an instrument in producing my music, I can't work with you.
On that topic, not to cut you, but you know what's deeper than that, especially when it comes to the engineering part. Sometimes good music get held back that way as well, in terms of the production part of it, in mixing and mastering the quality of a good song. Because sometimes you have a really good song but they're not mixed and mastered properly, and it will stay right here. Like people on the international base, like, okay, it sounds good, but you wouldn't expect them to mix and master it for you. It just gone on, under the rug. So I think as an artist as well, you should know, you would hear a quality and be like, no, send that back to the producer, or get someone else that's capable of, doing a good mixing and mastering of your product.
I'm catching goosebumps, because it happened to me this year. With happy feelings when it was mixed and mastered. And I released the song. Peck called me, say, Otis, there's something wrong. They mix it right.
Right.
So we had to pull this song and mix it over and master it over. So, so you have those guys. So you see that, who have that air for those things. If an expert, when I send it to expert, an expert say, no, there's something wrong. So you need to redo it. Right. I believe my producer Roots was on the road, so he plays for Cali Buds now.
Right.
So him on the road doing shows and trying to mix and master, he's not getting the right song because he's not sitting in his studio, where he has everything to mix up. And I must give them export and pick the flowers too, because producers looking out for artists and they didn't produce the song, right? So but they heard it and say, "It is no pull it."
Right.
remix it, remaster it.
Excellent. And that's what we want to see, because ultimately the entire industry is elevated because of that. Okay.
And a huge example of that is Blacker Than Song, Blessing. And Blessing is it's written nice, nice melody, whatever the case is. But one of the huge reasons is the quality of the song itself.
Right.
You can hear it play and you just literally enjoy it.
I think artists need to also, we have all those capabilities on island. I think we could increase on the musicianship, but we have musicians. Some of the producers are not really musicians, and you don't really have to be, but it helps a lot. It helps a lot.
Yeah.
So maybe we can improve on that. We have really good producers. We have people who can mix very well. We have people who can master very well. As an artist, you need to know who is who.
Yeah.
Instead of when I want a song really mixed, I know where to go. You know what I mean? If I want a song mastered, I know where to go.
Yeah.
And an artist, you got to know that.
Okay. All right, so it's time for wrap up. So wishes and whatever you want to use to be your closing moment, I leave it open to you guys. So Otis, you off.
Yeah, I just wish that we will just continue creating and making good music. I want to encourage the young artists, take a page out of the younger artists who are coming up. I want them to take a page out of the new artists such as Shamak and Tris, Reggae Atmosphere and Eugene, in the way that they write their songs and the way that they sing is and how they use their vocals. It's not just jump into the rhythm, sing 2 lines, and we think that's it. No, we need to continue to produce quality music. And learn how to take constructive criticism.
Right.
Because you won't come to me and tell me you have a song, and if you can't take constructive criticism, don't come to me with it.
Right.
Because I will tell you as is. Send it out to the dash, to the boys and the Talpre, and let them have a second opinion. Or Mr. Dowe, people who has been in the music for so long. So I just want to encourage them to grow. Don't be stagnant. Grow. You may start off bad this year, but don't give up. Continue to move on.
Okay, Shamak.
For me, I would start exactly where Otis ended. Just never give up. If that is what you want to do, if that is what you enjoy doing, continue. Stay with it. Also, you still have to be careful of who you asking for advice as well, because you have a few artists that you should not send your song to, probably, like my opinion, because everyone have their style, and I think people would give you their opinion based on their style, and I think that in music, what makes it so much amazing is the fact that it have different style, right. To attract you. So I believe as an artist, the main thing to do is to find your niche, find what you want to achieve out of that. Find a purpose. Everything you have to do, you must have a purpose behind it. Not just I want to sing, so I'm gonna sing. Why you want to do it, why you trying to get out of it, and just keep going, just keep working, because I can never believe that you could just keep working hard and never get through. I don't believe in that. If you're working hard, one day you're gonna succeed.
Eugene?
I would just want to encourage everybody to go out and support the artists.
True.
Thursday and Friday.
Yep.
The semis are gonna be on fire.
Of course.
And there's just so many great artists and great songs. Support the artists, all the artists, including these 2 artists right here. And just go there, have fun, and support it. I think the semis is a good place because you get to see not just those who make it to the finals, but those who are right there, almost. Is one of the best places to be at to see what we have to offer.
Yeah, Mr. Eugene said, come Thursday, number 11, come with your happy feeling.
You see, so you're saying come Thursday. Shamak will say come Thursday, Friday, and Sunday.
And Sunday.
Eugene Gittens, Shamak, Duncan, Kelvin, Celestine, Otis, thank you, gentlemen, so much for sharing about Spicemas and being the voice of Spicemas 2025. And to you, ladies and gentlemen, for sharing the last hour and a half or thereabouts with us. It was an absolute pleasure having you. The general message here to the artists is take pride in your work. Grenadian pride. Be proud of the nutmeg. So whether you're singing about job or you're not singing about a job, just that Grenadian pride, as the Karani James, the Lyndon Victor, the Anderson Peters, that same level of pride, that same level of investment in your craft is needed, and you shall do well. My name is Colin Dowe, and I look forward to being with you again in the next 6 days, 22 and a half hours. Good evening.